started it.
Hello, everyone. We'll get started in just about 30 seconds. Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are, everyone. This is Michael with dataBridge. We're happy to have you at the SharePoint Concierge webinar today. We've got some good stuff in store for you. A couple of new features that I think you'll find very interesting, and I think one Leona has that may be forthcoming here in the next month or two. But just giving that a shot across the bow. For SharePoint Concierge clients, we do this most months throughout the year to kind of give you a heads up on what's coming around SharePoint, Teams, Stream Planner, Azure Power Platform, the new features Microsoft regularly releases. And for any guests that we have today, thank you for joining us. If you're not familiar with dataBridge, SharePoint's all we do. Been doing it for 17 years and experts in that area and extremely proficient with everything that sits next to SharePoint. You'll hear about some of the features and other applications today as well. So with that, I will welcome you. I'm going to hand it over to Christy. She's going to be moderating today, and she'll introduce our presenters.
Welcome, everyone. I am pleased to be your moderator today. We have a great lineup of valuable topics that we hope that are going to help support you all in your SharePoint end users and then also as administrators. So today we're going to hear from our very own dataBridge experts, and we're going to present on learn how to do add admin curated acronyms to help improve your search experience. And then we're going to hear from, we're going to hear a new feature on highlighted accessibility updates, and then also how to add a survey, poll, quiz, and video at specific times. And then we're going to also hear about some workflows within Microsoft Teams chat, and then also Microsoft Teams voice isolation. So just a few instructions before we do get started. Your mics are muted until the end of the presentation, but we do want to encourage you to use that chat pane on over to the side to ask any questions along the way. If the presenter can stop and answer live, we'll be happy to. If not, another team member will hop on and assist as well. At the end of the presentation, we are going to have a live Q&A session, which we really hope you're able to stick around for if you can. And then at that time, we will unmute the mics, and then we'll give you some instructions towards the end as well on how that process works. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. Our first presenter is going to be Dylan. Dylan is going to demonstrate the use of the acronyms and the question and answer features and search and with search and intelligence. So over to you, Dylan.
Hey everyone, so in today's presentation, you'll learn about some of the search features just with your out-of-the-box search, and this is for the acronyms and the Q&A feature. More than once, I've actually had a request for extending your default out-of-the-box search, and also specifically to get functionality like, well, what if some people use an alternate variation or a shorthand or an abbreviation of a word when they search, where maybe you have tags or sites or names of files that have the full name or vice versa, something along those lines, and wanting to be able to search with that other version. And then the other side of this is, being able to ask questions to the search. It might be something like, if you have FAQs on your site, some of the basic frequently asked questions might be, how do you even access the site, or how do I get to the FAQs? Well, once you can get to the FAQs, you don't need to know the answer to that question, how you access it. So some of those kind of access questions could also be incorporated using this particular feature as well for answering some of your questions within the search box that you're able to curate yourself. So just to before I go in and show you how to set some of that up, just to explain the terms a little bit that I'll be using. So acronym in the context of the SharePoint search feature, like I was mentioning, this might be, terms like DevOps for development operations, Marcom for marketing communications, or IT for information technology. So that's, sort of the intended way you'd be using it. It's some abbreviation or shorthand of the, of your full, business term. And then search and intelligence. So that's where I'm going to be going to do this. This is in the 365 admin portal. So that's where we can tailor some of the out of the box search features that'll affect your site and your overall tenant. Now this will require admin role, just to let you know, this particular area, if you want to see that, that's, requires administration rights. And I've also included a little instruction, just a little breadcrumb on how you get there on the presentation. But what I'll do is I'll actually bring this on the screen here, and I'll just show you how we get there. So just in the administration portal, under settings, I'm going to go to search and intelligence. So it's under the settings there. And then from here, we're just going to the answers tab. And that's where the acronym, the one we're looking at is going to be the acronyms and Q&A, which are pretty similar in how they function. But we're going to start here with the acronyms. So on the screen, I've already got a couple set up here under acronyms. I've started to set a few more up actually for this call, HR, the DevOps. But some of the others I've already set up and I've tested here. I've got them plugged in. I did one with abbreviation of my name that points to somewhere. So if I type in DTS, that's going to search based off the name that I input here, just my name, and then even be able to point that to a source of where, if someone was to search that, it's gonna even pull up a particular source that I want to curate. And what I'll actually do is I'll walk through just creating a new one real quick as well. So let's just say add an acronym, and we'll do one for Marcom. So I'm going to say the acronym is Marcom. That's maybe what people are commonly using. And then we'll say that stands for marketing communications. And then we can give a description, and this description will also appear directly in the card in the search. If you want to give a definition to that term, we could say what it refers to. For now, I'm just going to leave something. And I can also enter a source. So maybe I could enter, where that term is used. That might be the actual, if you have a Marcom site, for instance, in this case. Or so you can link to a location that they could go to, and that could be whatever you want. Maybe it's a library or something along those lines as well. If you want to have a source, you don't have to enter anything under source, but it could go to a file or a site, or maybe it even expands on the term itself. Really depends, what you want to do with the acronyms. But I'm going to go ahead and publish it. You can see I could save it as a draft as well, but I'll just go ahead and publish that. And from what I've seen, this usually goes live pretty fast. But you never know with search, with the way things are working, maybe it'll just take a few minutes. But I'll actually show you. I've already got some set up, and I'll pull them on the screen. But I've got a couple acronyms, and what I'm going to do is pull up search. So I've just got on the screen here. I'm just dragging over the search box at the top, and I'm going to just type in, my some of the different acronyms I already have set up. So for instance, I typed in the initials there, and you can see up here at the top is the card, and that card it shows what that acronym is. So you can see it's not case sensitive or anything there, but it shows how I have the acronym entered. It actually has the term that I've said it stands for here. So I could even click that to say search for by that term. So if you're searching for a short term or using a shorthand, you could have a card here that displays, that gives the definition, gives the full word. Maybe someone doesn't even know what the full word is and how you have it tagged. So these could be nice to have just have these uploaded to your environment. And I can even show as well one other thing that you can do. So just to show, I've entered a few of these manually as well. So let's say you do want to enter a couple of these. One thing you can do as well, you can also do an import. So if you do have a lot of terms, if you do want to try this out, just to show you here, so to send that import, it's looking for a CSV file, and it does have some sort of examples. You could download the CSV. If you've already added a couple, you could download that Excel file and look at it, the columns that it needs, and then you could work off the sheet, and when you're ready, you could upload it. Or if you really wanted to make this a full process type of deal where you have a lot of new terms coming in or being updated, you could keep the sheet updated, and maybe once a month or something like that, you send it to the person who's going to upload it or that kind of deal. So, but it depends, how you're looking to use that particular feature. Now, in this case, these are just the different cards that show up. So we can enter that, we can have a definition, we can have the full term that we're looking for. We can link to sources, and you can see I can click the full term and actually just search by that term. But what I want to show you as well is the Q&A feature. So if we go over to the Q&A feature, it's a pretty similar idea in terms of how you set it up, but it actually extends further than the acronyms. So that's why I put them into one topic, because they are pretty similar, and they're here in the same spot. So you can use them in a similar way. Now, I think it's intended functionality as a question and answer. So, like an FAQ type of thing, but I'll show you here when I click add question. You'll see I actually have a lot more stuff I can fill out here. So I can have title, URL, the answer. So basically like a question, read more link potentially, an answer that you curate there. You can even do some styling, some basic styling using the little markdown. And then you can also add keywords. So you could add alternate keywords for this so that maybe you want this question and answer to show up when people are searching for certain keywords. Maybe it will be helpful for them. So even if a keyword is not contained in the title or answer here, you could have those keywords so that it still does show up, in the results up there at the top whenever they're searching for certain words, or just maybe alterations of the question or answer. You can see you can even reserve keywords so that if you've got a bunch of other stuff going on with those same keywords, like maybe the word task or something like that, you could reserve, a very specific name of when someone searches, so that one's always at the top. So if you're doing other stuff with the acronyms and with search and whatever else, you can have some terms reserved for your FAQs if it made sense to do so. And then one other one just to mention as well, which could be pretty useful, is you see I have country and region and groups. So you don't have to have these FAQs show up for everybody. So maybe even if you wanted to do a trial run, you could have a particular group or a particular region to try out first. Potentially you could have a few questions and answers like, how do I access this? How do I access that? Where is this? Those kind of questions is what I mean. And but you could make it just apply to a certain region or a certain department to try you out before you maybe do it to the whole environment if you want. So it's kind of nice. And then ultimately you could have curated results for all different, separate results that show up for the question and answers for each region or department. So it's pretty nice there. And just to show you which I'll bring on the screen and show you my example, just to show how I have one configured. So I have one for our tasks. So I say, where are my tasks or my tasks? So I'm just searching for, I'm looking for my task dashboard. And so basically anytime I search for my tasks or what are my tasks, where can I find my tasks? It'll actually pull up, the task dashboard. It'll give me a description of what that dashboard is. And I just have it applied to everyone at the moment. So I'll show you how that works as well. So coming back over to the screen. And I actually just search my task here. I'll just do it again. We'll say, right there at the top, you can see this card showed up. And in the card, I've got, URL to the, it actually shows the URL of the task dashboard. It has the description. And then, I could also just click the what are my tasks to go to my dashboard. So I've got it linked to a particular source. So whenever you're just asking what your tasks are, it comes up. And then ultimately, if you have different dashboards for different departments, then this card could be different for each person that searches, depending on which department or location they're in. So if you have them broken up that way, so it's pretty nice. There's potentially a lot of ways you could use that beyond even just a question and answer. As in, it doesn't have to be someone asking a question. It could just, they're using certain keywords and you want a curated result to come up whenever they search for that keyword. So, I think that could be pretty useful as just something that you can go and start out today. If you work with an admin, or if you are one, you can go in and try a few terms out. Because I know a few people have asked for this. So it's something that you can pretty easily start and then build upon. And maybe in future webinars as well, we'll talk about ways you can extend it even further. And there is a lot more stuff that's coming as well with intelligent search, but this is really nice for curating your own sort of results. So with that in mind, I think that'll conclude my presentation, and I'll hand this back over.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Dylan. That's great. And it's always interesting to see, these, how the search and intelligence and all these new features that are constantly coming out and changing. And like Dylan said too, stay tuned for what might be coming out in future webinars as well. So next we have Hayden, and we're really excited. There's two new features that are going to be coming out. So he's going to go over some highlighting accessibility updates to tables in SharePoint, and then also how to add a survey, poll, or quiz to a video at a specific time. So over to you, Hayden.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much, Christy. I'm really excited to talk to you about these topics at hand. The first one we'll be talking about today is, of course, the accessibility updates to the tables within SharePoint. So in today's presentation, we'll learn how the new accessibility updates for the tables have been implemented in SharePoint and how they can improve the working environment for disabled employees. Terms that you will hear during this is screen readers. If you're not very familiar with screen readers is a tool typically used by visually impaired or illiterate or employees with learning disabilities. It's a software that, as their mouse kind of hovers over different content, it tells them what they're looking at, and they'll be able to use audio cues to know what the screen is showing. Another term that we'll be using today is the accessibility label, and what that is just the label that's shown over a piece of content when you hover over it. So with that said, before we jump in the modern workplace, it is not uncommon for an organization to need unique accessibility features to allow their employees to work efficiently and effectively. Even if this is not the case for your company today, it may very well be something worth learning for the near future. One of the new accessibility features that Microsoft has added is their labeling tool, which screen readers will be able to use to give audio cues to the individuals that are listening through the tool. Some key aspects of the new accessibility features is the ability to right-click a table for quick access to the editing toolkit, the ability to quickly change the header and column style of a table, and to change the accessibility label, which, as I just explained, is kind of the label that hovers over the content when your mouse is over it. So to do this, I'm going to show you guys real quick. If you go to any SharePoint site that has a table within the site, what you're going to want to start off doing is editing the page itself. Whenever you edit the page, of course, you're going to be editing the web parts that exist within the page. So when you're editing the page, you come down to this table, and if you click within the table, you'll see that there's this really slick and easy design above the table that exists for your toolkit. However, there's some nice new features that Microsoft rolled out that will help you do some really quick changes. To do that, you just right click within the table itself. And as you see, it pulls up this new toolbox. So you have everything from table styles here at the top to insert and delete different columns and rows, table alignments. The issue with this is, although it's probably useful for most employees, some employees, especially those that are using screen readers, might not fully understand or be able to utilize these features to their fullest extent. And so Microsoft rolled out this new accessibility settings at the bottom of this toolkit. And the few features that exist on it is they can quickly, when they hover over the header row, they can just check that box, and that will highlight the header row for them to be able to utilize, as well as the first column. So as you see, I created a table that kind of talks about the day of the week and what ice cream flavors were sold throughout that week. But when you hover over the table, it just shows table as the label. And so what you're going to want to do is under the accessibility settings, this allows you to put some alternate text. So this is great for being able to really clarify what the table is showing, especially for those screen readers. So for this one, I'm just going to say, ice cream sales by day and flavor. And when you click off of that and hit republish, what's going to happen is it's going to save those updates. And now whenever the screen reader goes over that, it'll show that new label so that people that are using screen readers or other tools that read the actual site, it will show the new label for them to be able to understand what it's talking about. One of the key things with screen readers is when they highlight or click within a box, it will tell them what the actual data is, but without this high level understanding of what the chart or graph is even showing, it can be very difficult for different employees. I'm personally very thankful that Microsoft is thinking about every potential employee and adding tools such as this to create an inclusive yet productive environment from within SharePoint. And hopefully this can be a benefit to both employees and your organization moving forward. With that said, that is my first topic. I want to move on to the second one, which is highlighting the new feature that they started rolling out, which is adding a survey, poll, or quiz to a video at any specific time. In this presentation, you'll learn the new feature that will allow you to add unique forms over a video that lives within your SharePoint or Stream environment. The different terms you'll hear is Microsoft Forms, which is the Forms app that is included within the O365 environment. You'll also hear Interactivity, which is the new toolkit that will be found within the video settings and will allow you to add different callouts and forms on a video. A few things to note before we jump in. Any survey, poll, or quiz that you'd like to add to a video will first need to be created within the Microsoft Forms app itself within your O365 environment. And you're going to want to set that form security to whoever is going to be viewing that video and filling that form out. So if it's an internal video, and you can set the security level for that form to only be for the company as a whole. If it's only for managers, same thing with that. Or if it's for external sharing purposes, set it for everyone so that they'll be able to fill out that form and proceed with the video. With that said, the steps to add this new feature to a video, you would first go to a site with a video that currently exists on a SharePoint tenant. You're not going to want to edit the page here. When you edit the page, you edit the web parts. We're not really focusing on the web part that embeds the video as much as we're focusing on the video settings themselves. So just start playing the video as it is on the site. And in the top right, you'll notice this video settings queue. And so when you hit that, it'll open up the video settings toolbox for that video. Here you're going to find some really great features, including thumbnails, about videos, chapters, analytics, voice, noise suppression, and audio files. But what we're going to focus on is this interactivity toggle. You're going to want to make sure that the toggle is toggled on, of course, so that you're able to add forms and have them implemented on the video. If the video is completed and no longer needs a form for one reason or another, and instead of having to delete all the forms off that video, you can simply just toggle this off. So it adds a lot of ease of use for maintenance purposes. But once you've made sure that this is toggled on, you're going to go over here to these tabs and select the interactivity tab, which will open up a new toolbox portal for you to add a new form or a new callout. A callout is usually a blanketed text over a video. Maybe if the video doesn't touch on something or something's been updated since the video has been released for educational purposes, and you need to just put a quick blurb to let the users know of an update. But what we're going to focus on is this add form feature and how your organization can really benefit with that. So once you hit the add form, it'll take you to this next section where you can put the URL link from the Microsoft Forms app onto the video itself, and then you can select what the time mark that you want that form to show up at. So minute, second, hours if it's a lengthy video or at that point a movie, but you can kind of pick and choose where it's going to show up. And once you've made sure the URL's there and the time mark is correct, you're just going to want to hit this green check mark, and then you're off to the races. Once that is applied to a video and a user is watching the video and hits that specific time mark, they're going to be met with this very easy form template where they can go through, select any of the answers they need. It will mimic what was created in the Forms app. So if it's multiple choice or text or any of the different content types that you'd like to add to a form, I will say that you can see here, you can kind of skip the form and continue to the video. You can automatically take this off if you have some required fields that you want every user to be able to utilize. So once they submit the form itself, they'll be met with this thanks message, which you can customize. And then they're going to continue to the video. It'll pick up exactly where it left off and keep moving forward. Once the form is submitted, all the form submissions can be found on the Microsoft Form apps, just as if it was any other type of form or survey that you've sent out for easy data management and analysis. So if you know me, I don't like leaving you guys without talking about a few use cases on how this could be beneficial for your organization. And so here's just a few use cases I think that could be very beneficial for you guys. The first would be educational videos. So as Microsoft continues to update the different video features within SharePoint Online, we've seen a huge wave of organizations bringing in their onboarding, training, employee resources all into a centralized place instead of having different softwares housing different content, which may be a bit overwhelming for employees to find what they're looking for. And so with this new feature, you can add some upfront quizzes or videos to the educational video to track data on where the individual is before they even start the education. You could have a midway quiz to see if they're paying attention and retaining the learned information. And lastly, a video end quiz to show if they fully grasped the concept that the educational video is trying to provide. This is key not only in keeping the user more engaged, which the content, which studies have shown that content with more user engagement helps increase educational retention levels, but it also serves as a great data analytics tool on the back end for your organization to understand where the educational materials excel and then maybe where the educational materials may be lacking. And so your organization can provide the very best tools it can. Another use case may be inter-teams collaboration. So take, for instance, the marketing department works on a lot of different video content, and you have multiple people in the team editing and working on different videos at one single time. So your team can add different polls or surveys or even quick blurbs on the different video items, and this will give a good snapshot of edits that need or changes that need to happen to those videos that each employee suggests before the content is ready for public consumption. And then once it's ready, the interactivity setting can just be toggled off for a fresh, clean, finished product. And then lastly, let's say that this feature could be used for external sharing purposes. So take the sales department. Maybe they send a welcoming video out to customers that outline key products or services that your organization offers. You can have a survey to learn what each client is interested in most, and that will help the sales team really focus on the specific client's needs and desires while also keeping a great database of those responses. So at the end of the year, you can see what products and services clients are most wanting to engage with to help with overall, sales and benefits for the organization and clients. But again, these are just a few ways that this new feature can help your organization thrive and become the best it can be. It is available now. It is rolling out, and when Microsoft rolls it out, sometimes they phase it. So check with your team and your tenant, see if it's available for you guys to be able to utilize today. If not, just keep your eyes open. It should be coming your way within the next couple weeks. With that said, I think that wraps up my section, and I will pass it off to Christy.
Thanks, Hayden. That was fantastic. Great new features. We're excited about that as well. Again, uh, thanks. So next, we are going to hear from Leona. Leona's going to be our final presenter today. She's going to go over workflows within Microsoft Teams chat menu and then also Microsoft Teams voice isolation. So over to you, Leona. Thanks.
All righty. Well, welcome everyone. Yep. Today I'm going to be covering two subjects. The first one being the Microsoft Power Automate, or AKA workflows now within Microsoft Teams chat. We're going to kind of walk through the steps on how to add workflows and then also how to use those workflows for your Microsoft Teams chat. This will be done through a quick menu, which we'll show in just a second. Again, just for clarification, Microsoft is starting to use the terminology of workflows. So if you start to see that in Microsoft Teams or inside of Office 365, that is previously known as Power Automate or Microsoft Flow, which is Microsoft's automation platform. So just be aware of that terminology starting to come into play here. And also one piece of clarification, this is using the Microsoft Power Automate on the back end or workflows. So therefore licensing needs to be enabled, and also the service needs to be available to your organization as a whole. So these are going to be kind of some level caveats to be aware of to allow for your team members to start doing this. So to start off, let's say I'm an organization that has Teams chats, whether that be through actual Microsoft Teams or directly through one-on-one conversations inside the chat feature inside Microsoft Teams. And I wanted to have some level of follow-up actions or any sort of maybe automation that I wanted to that could be applied to a message to say, hey, you know what? This message here, I need to make sure that I have a follow-up with this user maybe in a week from now to ensure that maybe the actionable item has been done or whatever the case may be has been addressed. So to kind of walk through how this will work. So with any of your messages inside Microsoft Teams, so if we went into our webinar, we could do it on our webinar or go into one of our Teams chats. Anytime you cover over one of the chat messages, there will be an ellipsis up in the top right-hand corner. So when you select this ellipsis, a little drop-down menu will appear. As of right now, we want to get down to this More Actions button down here. And there's also pre-built kind of flows available to you here. As of right now, we're going to go ahead and say Create New Action. So when you do create new action, this little panel will appear in front of our screen. We have the capability of building a brand new flow completely from scratch. We're not going to do that today, but just be aware that is available to you. So for those who build Microsoft flows often, this will be a kind of a quick tool to jump in and start building flows off of that. One little caveat that I do wish to say, if for anybody who is creating flows brand new instead of using one of Microsoft's templates, just be aware dark mode inside Microsoft Teams does not play well with Power Automate development. So just be aware you might want to switch to light mode if you ever wish to do your dev inside of the Teams app itself. On the right side, we also have a little search box. This allows you to potentially find any sort of templates that might be quickly available to you that Microsoft provides to fulfill your action. So let's say as of right now, I say, you know what, I really like the idea of the follow-up on a message. I can type in the word follow. This result pops up in front of me, and then I can go ahead and select the template. Or if I wanted to, I could kind of scroll through what is available to us. Again, as of right in this use case, I'm going to go ahead and select an existing template here. We can go ahead and get a description of what this does, get a reminder to follow up on a message at the time of your choosing. You also have different connectors. So again, for those who are unaware, Power Automate uses Power Automate connectors, which says that I'm going to perform this action as a user. That user normally being the user who's currently logged into the app. So just be aware of what this UI element is here. It's most likely going to be using you unless you wish to have a Surface account that fulfills these actions on your behalf. Next, we also have the name of this. So this will also be saved to your Power Automate portal for this current user. And this will also be what is available to you via the drop-down menu to be able to quickly start one of these flows. So if you wanted to be a little bit more descriptive for your use case, you can go ahead and change this text here. As of right now, we're going to keep it simple and keep it as the follow-up on a message. We're going to go ahead and hit the Add a Workflow button now. It's going to go ahead and be creating our workflow on the back end. This may take a couple of minutes realistically. And then we also now have the capability of running flows or managing flows. I'm going to go for the simplicity's sake right now. I'm going to close this out just to say, hey, by chance, let's say I made something, but I really don't want to run it right this second. And we'll show you how to run it in a minute. So let's say, again, I built my flow. It's now available to me. How do I go ahead and run any of the flows that I've ever built that are specifically related to Power or Microsoft Teams chat messages? So now if I go back to our little ellipses here, and we go down to more options here, we now have the additional action showing up here. Also, it may appear here in this area right above this mark as unread or mark as read type of message. This kind of shows you most recently used ones. As of right now, I haven't used it yet, so therefore it's not popping up. So when I select this little card here and say, hey, I want to do my follow-up on this message, I get this little card that pops up based off the properties of that template to say, hey, when do I want to have a follow-up message? So I can say, you know what? Next Wednesday, I think given a week amount of time for this user to go ahead and complete the action that's been assigned to them, let's make sure we just say it maybe at 3:45 p.m. And maybe we want to say, ensure the client is happy with the outcome of this action, whatever the case may be. I go ahead and hit that submit button. And so now in a week from now at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time, I will be receiving that notification going, hey, we've reached that threshold and you're good to go. One thing to also be aware of when we were showing stuff inside of here, so your flow does kind of exist here. If you're ever in Microsoft Teams and maybe you want to disable a flow, maybe you accidentally started making some and there's already one that exists and you say, oops, now I have two of these. I don't need to have multiple of these. If you ever need to adjust that inside of Microsoft Teams in the left navigation where the app bar is, you want to click on this More Apps button here. And we have workflows available to us right this second. If by chance you do not see workflows, just type it in here and you will see it as kind of probably an additional app to add. So if you do need to add it, just click the little add button and it becomes available to you here. And when you do click on this, you get taken to a page that will show all your existing flows that are specifically to Microsoft Teams. You do have the capability of changing it to show all flows. Again, I would suggest probably not doing dev work inside Microsoft Teams. use the Power Automate platform realistically at the end of the day, but you can do so here. And this is where you can kind of either turn things off if you say, hey, again, I don't think that I want to have this be available anymore. It's just really clogging up my UI, or maybe I do have multiple instances of this. I can either turn it off here, or if I really wanted to, I can also just delete it if I so desire. There again, if you're a little bit more confident, you can go into the edit feature and make more modifications to the flow, but I would go, that's probably a little bit more advanced than what we want to cover in today's call. So again, that's going to be the new feature that is available to you. So if you wish to start to, kind of have actionable items on chat messages to either have follow-ups or email notifications or kind of whatever your heart's desire really is, if you wanted to get that in depth, that is now available to you via the quick menu inside Microsoft Teams. So that concludes my first section today, talking about the new Microsoft Teams control. The next one that we're going to be talking about is going to be the noise cancellation or the noise isolation in Microsoft Teams. So this is a feature that is not currently deployed, but will be coming within the next 2 months, so between March and April 2024. For those who don't know what voice isolation is, it's already kind of partially enabled. Is the technology using AI to kind of ensure that the ambient and background noise is kind of removed from your calls. So kind of what is the benefit of this is, anytime that you've ever been on a call and there's ever been, maybe a lot of background noise, whether that be the office or children or animals or whatever the case may be, the number of times that I've heard, oh, sorry guys, like my dog was barking and we didn't even hear it, I go, that's the noise cancellation or voice isolation already playing a factor. But Microsoft is now going to be giving us a little bit extra technology to kind of refine it a little bit more specifically to the user who is talking. So to go ahead and kind of walk through how that will eventually be deployable. So as of right now, Microsoft has already started putting in place to a degree the kind of the framework around where this will be. As of right now, again, it will probably be the exact same UI element that we have because it hasn't been rolled out. But in essence, what you will want to do inside Microsoft Teams, if you wish this to be kind of applied to yourself, you will go into the settings panel here. And then there will be a section inside of the settings called recognition. And so as of right now, again, we currently do not have this available to us because it is not a feature that is enabled or it has not been fully deployed. But this is where you will actually be able to provide an additional sound file of you talking. So therefore the AI can start to go, this is your voice. Anything that does not fit within the criteria of your voice, we're going to go ahead and kind of exclude from the audio. So that ensures, again, those who work in the far more loud environments, that it will only be your voice coming in clearly versus it being potentially muffled out by other, background noises. Also, again, by chance, if you're an organization that does not want this to be enabled, there is an additional documentation that we have here in our document that will be a link to the Microsoft articles on how you can potentially disable this feature in your tenant if you so wish not to have it be available to your user base. So again, that is a feature that is coming in within the next 2 months. So just be keeping an eye out on that if you so wish to participate in it. But that kind of covers my second subject today, and then I'll pass it back on to you, Christy.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Leona. That was great. So that does conclude our presentation and learning portion of our call today. We hope that it did spark some new interest for functionality to explore. We want to encourage you to mark your calendars for our webinar next month, which is going to be on Thursday, the 21st, and we definitely hope that you'll join us for that as well. For the SharePoint Concierge clients that are joining us today, as always, you're going to get the recording of today's webinar. You're going to get the presentation slides, also the additional how-to step-by-step documents, and that's going to be pushed up to your learning tenants. And then where you can of course take that information, digest it, and then share with your team as well. So now that we are at the end of the presentation, again, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you are able to stick around for our question and answer portion. So just little instructions here, and actually, it'd help if I shared it here. So if you do have a question, feel free to raise your hand, and then we will unmute your mic, and one of our team members will be um, happy to answer that for you. We'll just give a few minutes to see if there's any questions out there.
And real quick, there was one about just walking through doing a department-specific Q&A. So real quick, if that user's still on the call, I can show that real quick and what that meant. Just I know I was asking for the example of a department specific Q&A. And if that user's here, I'll just show real quick what that means. I can just share the screen and show real quick. It'll only take a second here. So just, you know, if you're looking to try this out with a department-specific department real quick, I'll just show. If I go to add a question, specifically what would be department-specific would be, you know, if you have an HR group. So if I say under the Q&A here, just, you know, under groups, most likely you would have maybe 80 groups, 365 groups for departments. And this would be the way to only have it show for that department. So if it only applies to them. So, you know, if you have one, you could search for that particular group. If it was HR, you had one, you could select that. So it only appears for them. And then the other way you could handle it too is also potentially by the location or region that their accounts are set to. And you can do it as a device as well. So if it's, you know, access related to their device, you could have it be dynamic in that sense too. So these down here are specifically how you would handle that for your Q&A.
Thanks, Dylan. Were there any other questions regarding that piece from our audience? All right. Well, I don't see any other hands or any hands raised at this time, so we will go ahead and conclude our presentation. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. It's been our pleasure to have you with us today. And if you need anything, have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We're here for you. So with that said, thanks everyone. Have a great day.